Donald Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, had a full-blown panic moment on live TV this week when reporters pressed her on the administration's latest trade disaster. Now, you might remember 90 trade deals in 90 days. That was the promise. Those 90 days are up tomorrow. We now have a new thing. It's no longer 90 deals in 90 days. It's tailor-made trade plans for each country. In other words, very few deals.
Secretary Bessent said yesterday that countries will boomerang back to the April 2nd tariff level starting August 1st. Why did the president decide to have those tariffs not take effect Wednesday as originally scheduled? And then I was also wondering if you could share, obviously we saw the letters the president sent out on Japan and South Korea, but if any other major U.S. trading partners are getting letters today.
Sure, yes, I can confirm. In fact, I have those letters. If you could get me the folder with the letters in them, Liz, they're right in the previous office. I have the signed letters that went out to both South Korea and Japan today.
Wow.
And there will be approximately 12 other countries that will receive notifications and letters directly from the President of the United States. And weeks ago, I stood at this podium and I told all of you that the President was going to create tailor-made trade plans for each and every country on this planet. And that's what this administration continues to be focused on. The President will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st.
So in other words, Trump is chickening out again. Now, we're going to dig into that further. But a really great question was asked. A reporter asked an obvious question. Trump imposed tariffs on April 2nd, and then he paused them. So aren't countries once again going to say, these letters, Trump paused it again because he realized how damaging it was to the United States? And Caroline Leavitt goes, no. This time they're going to take the letters really seriously.
This is on the trade letters. Given the fact that the president put into effect the tariffs on April 2nd and then put the pause into place, is the president at all concerned that these countries that are receiving the letters won't take them seriously because the deadline seems to have shifted already and may shift again?
They will take the letters seriously because they have taken the president seriously. And that's why the president's phone, I can tell you, rings off the hook from world leaders all the time who are begging him to come to a deal. And this administration is working hard to ensure those deals are in the best interest of the American people.
This time they're going to take them really seriously. But seriously, what country is going to take Trump's economic threats in a serious manner when he keeps blinking? This administration talks tough. They impose tariffs. They pause the tariffs. Now they're saying we're going to reinvent global trade one country at a time with these letters from Trump. We'll look at the letters in a moment. This is not a strategy. And if you look at Twitter comments and other, commentary, you'll see people say, no, this unpredictability is part of the negotiating strategy. But we'd have no evidence of that. We have evidence that Trump is stalling because he knows this would be bad for the country. Trump knows what happened to farmers in his first term. Trump knows what happened to small businesses and manufacturing facilities in his first term from the tariffs. It was a disaster. Then Caroline Leavitt goes off on a bizarre tangent, accusing Democrats of pushing depraved lies. Anything she can do to take attention away from what's going on in the Oval Office, which is chaos, unfettered chaos.
Unfortunately, in the wake of this once-in-a-generation natural disaster, we have seen many falsehoods pushed by Democrats such as Senator Chuck Schumer and some members of the media. Blaming President Trump for these floods is a depraved lie, and it serves no purpose during this time of national mourning. Here are the facts. In the lead up to this tragic natural disaster, the National Weather Service did its job. Despite unprecedented rainfall, the National Weather Service executed timely and precise forecasts and warnings. On July 3rd, the National Weather Service office in Austin, San Antonio, Texas, conducted forecast briefings for emergency management in the morning and issued a flood watch in the early afternoon. Flash flood warnings were also issued on the night of July 3rd and in the early morning of July 4th, giving preliminary lead times of more than 3 hours before flash flooding conditions occurred. And the National Weather Service office in New Braunfels, which delivers forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms, despite claims of the contrary. So to any person who has deliberately lied about these facts surrounding this catastrophic event, You should be deeply ashamed. At this time, the administration's focus will be giving the victims and their communities the support they deserve during these recovery efforts in this tragic time.
Those evil Democrats saying that the cuts and the indifference from municipal and state authorities, and it all made the flooding situation worse. No, they are the depraved liars. And what you can always count on, is that Trump always does the right thing no matter what. Well, it seems as though Trump is chickening out again, and that's where I want to focus in on.